Good morning and welcome to Quest Television and Quest 93.1 FM, the station that goes beyond your expectation. Yes, today is the 29th day in the month of August in the year 2023. A lovely Tuesday morning here in the studios, and I hope you're having a lovely Tuesday morning as well. With that being said, it is time for us to look into the headlines making the rounds on the dailies. My name is Orikemi Mariam, and it is time for the paper review on Quest today. Making a return back to the studio this morning are 5 newspapers. We have the Vanguard, we have the Punch, we have the Nation, the Daily Trust newspaper, as well as the Daily Sun. And I'm not alone in the studio. With me in the studio this morning is my colleague, the person of Mr. Alex Ogbonaya, and also our Quest analyst. Yes, our Admirable Quest analyst, the person of Comrade Efe or Domo. Good morning and welcome, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I give you the honor to start the reply. So.
Yeah, I've done that. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You were conspicuously and unavoidably absent yesterday. On behalf of Alex, I welcome you back.
Right. Well, at this point, let's just head straight into the papers. And the first paper for review will be the Punch. And on the Punch newspaper this morning, the major headline reads, FEC unfolds 3-year economic revival plan and Tinubu wants ministers. The writer there says the ministers to achieve first phase of Tinubu's 8-point agenda within 3 years. And Tinubu inherited bad economy and youth unemployment unacceptable is a statement from a minister. Do also read all of that on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Moving away from that, above the masthead, we have a Cameroon dam flood to hit states in 7 days, says federal government. You can read all of that on page 17. Still on page 17, MBS kicks as ex-statistician general faults new employment data. It's as if we saw that coming up, but do also read all of that on page 17 as well. Still on page 17 of the Punch, we have extractive firms underpaid $10 billion in taxes and royalties, says Nieti. Like I said earlier on, all of those 3 stories you can get on page 17 of the Punch. Moving down below, Abiodun diverted Ogun local government allocations and 10.8 billion naira bailout, council boss alleges. Do also read all of that on page 7. But moving to page 4, quite an interesting one there. You know, page 4 of the Punch always has an interesting story. Say, tenant bites off neighbor's ear over electricity bill. Well, do also read all of that on page 4, as I stated earlier. NLC and FMBN clash over 238 billion naira national housing fund. You can read all of that on page 18. And well, for the picture of the day, we can see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima, and also the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, and other members of the Federal Executive Council during the inaugural FEC meeting of Tinubu's administration in Abuja. And this picture was taken on Monday. And well, that's what you can take on the front page of the Punch.
Okay, let's go straight to Daily Sun newspaper. The lead story on the front page of Daily Sun newspaper. Tinubu reads riot acts to ministers, and it has riders, I will not spare incompetent officials, vows President. Nigeria grinding to halt under you, PDP. You can check out the full story on page 6 of the Daily Sun. Federal government evacuates 298 Nigerian irregular migrants freed from Libyan detention. That's on page 4. The story is just by the side of the masthead of the Daily Sun. And below the Tinubu Reading Riots Act comes this one. Federal government prunes list of delegation to UNGA. Others non-inclusion of officials without role. Addressing national security challenge, collective responsibility. That's according to Ribadu. Details are on page 5. Lagdo Dam, we will mitigate flood, says Environment Minister. No cause for alarm, says NEMA. Edo State issues warning alert to residents in lowlands. That's on page 8. Also on page 8 comes this one. Mba to unveil $2.1 billion project pipeline as Enugu holds investment roundtable. And finally, on the front page of Daily Sun, Oboriwori, Obaseki, Oshomole, others chart path for Niger Delta development growth. That's on page 26, and that's that from the Daily Sun newspaper. Over to you, Miriam.
All right, the next paper for review is the Vanguard. On the Vanguard newspaper this morning, the major headline reads, First Executive Council meeting, revive ailing economy, Tinubu orders ministers. The writer there says, or rather a couple of writers, it says list 8 points agenda and gives ministers matching orders, promises not to rely on borrowing, assures of 50 million jobs, and adds Nigerians have high expectations of us. Do well to read all of that, and more on the writers there on page 5 of the Vanguard. Moving above the masthead, we have Obi will soon be declared Nigeria's president. Abure tells Nigerians in the U.S. Do what we do of that on page 11. Kwara CP declares man who threatened traditionalists wanted terrorist. That story is making it to page 6. We'll manage release of water from Lagdo Dam, says the federal government. And you can get more on that story on page 9. Moving away from that, we have Navy smashes transborder oil syndicate and arrests 5 suspects. That story is beginning to page 6. But on page 8 of the Vanguard is quite an interesting one. It says no NYSC law stops COP members from becoming ministers. But, well, where is this from? It's from a source. But more on that story you can get on page 8. Comrade, I can see your reactions.
Yes, I know
you're going to speak on that later. But moving away from that, we have Midwest at 60, Obaseki, Obiriwori, Oshumele, and others chart parts for region's development and growth. The writer there says drama as Shoaib's media aides are sent out of the event. All of that you can get on page 8 and continue on page 12 of the Vanguard. On Niger coup, he says France defies junta order for ambassador to leave Niamey. You get more on that on page 29. And investors losing confidence in economy under Tinubu, says the PDP. You can read all of that on page 8. For the picture of the day, we can see Edo State Governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, with his predecessor and Senator representing Edo North Senatorial District, Senator Adams Oshomole, at the 60th anniversary of the Midwest referendum in Benin City yesterday. But we cannot leave the Vanguard newspaper without reading, without some comic relief, and we have to go to the Mr. and Mrs. column. And here, Mrs. is saying, August visitors should be treated with respect. And then Mr. replies and says, anybody who visits another family in these hard times and stays more than 2 days is a nuisance, even if he comes in June. Well,
the person comes with full stop.
Well, in that case, I believe he will no longer be a nuisance. But who am I to speak on behalf of Mr.? But that is the much we can take on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
Up next is Daily Trust newspaper, and quickly the lead story on its front page says President Tinubu unveils 8-point agenda. It comes with riders, warns ministers against underperformance. We inherited very bad economy, Edu. Find short-term solutions to fuel subsidy removal, forex crisis, expert tells federal government. And above that story, directly below the masthead, Cameroon notified us 7 days after reopening Lagdo Dam, federal government. 250 billion gas expansion fund dormant for 4 years. That's according to the federal government. And PSC retires 4 DIGs for not leaving after Egbetokun's appointment. And still on the front page of Daily Trust newspaper, Tribunal, Kano APC declares fasting prayers 48 hours after NNPPs. Whatever that means, you can get that story on page 10 of Daily Trust newspaper. Residents invade Bayelsa warehouse, loot, spoiled 2022 palliatives. That's on page 6 or 16 of Daily Trust. Tinubu bars officials without specific roles from attending UNGA. Details are on page 14 of Daily Trust. And I think that will be all from Daily Trust newspaper.
All right. Well, the final paper for review this morning is The Nation. And in The Nation newspaper, the major headline reads, Tinubu targets economic revival and 50 million jobs in 3 years. Perform or be fired, presidency wants ministers. All of that you can get on the front page and get more details on page 4 of The Nation. Moving above the masthead, Citigroup predicts rise in foreign investments. It's making it to page 25. Obaseki fires Shoaib's media aides as rift widens. It's making it to page 4. And why we dropped Sanwo-Olu's nominees by speaker. If you want to get more on that story, go to page 27. Federal government stops frivolous official trips in cost-saving measure. It's quite an interesting one there, and you can read all of that on page 6. And still on page 6 of The Nation, it says APC tackles opposition PDP over Tinubu's economic policies. Moving away from that, Cameroon's Lagdo Dam opening sparks fear in 13 flood-prone states. Federal government urges relocation from threatened areas. All of that you can get on the front page and get more details on page 5. Palliatives warehouse looted in Bayelsa and Oshun secures stores is making it to page 28. And well, at this point, we've taken all the major headlines on the front pages of all the dailies I mentioned earlier, which is the Vanguard, the Nation, the Punch newspaper, the Daily Trust, as well as the Daily Sun. And at this point, we'll open the phone lines so you could call into the show and have your say. But do not forget to stick to the headlines making the rounds on the dailies I mentioned this morning. The numbers to call remain the same, and for those on TV, it's on your screen. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Your name
Mr.
and
Friday, calling from Mr. Bono.
Mr. Friday, all right. Welcome to the show. Have your say.
Thank you. I want to talk about Delta State at 32. I want to appreciate God for this very state, Delta State. I want to appreciate the people that have been saddled with the helm of affair. Even in this new dispensation, I want to appreciate them. To appeal to them that God will give them the grace to paddle the leadership of this very state to a greater height. And I want to appreciate one of the commissioner that have been reappointed. I'm talking about our commissioner, our honorable, our dignity in our independent nation, Mr. Oke Motilije, who has been reappointed as finance minister, commissioner. I want to appreciate him because sensitive commission ministry deserves competent hand. So it's a reflection of his competency. That is why
thank you very much. Thank you very much. But let's keep your reactions coming through, and don't forget to stick to the headlines making the rounds. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Henry.
Yes, Henry Ogwara from Mosoka.
Yes, Mr. Henry.
Tinubu unfolds economy plans, 8-point agenda, says inherits bad economy. Task minister to revive the alien economy. Yes, good at he has a lay on video, but the truth that Tinubu must make sure that whatever policies is bringing out are well thought out. Cannot just because it's a knee-jerk approach, your people say at the end, everything will not be all right because people are really suffering. Even the so-called palliative issue, I'm still doubting that you should still consider it if need be to revise it because I don't see how the way it is being done, how you could leave the effect of the substitute remover. Then again, release of water dam from the Caloric Dam water in Cameroon. Yes, they have told us that the flood will be very high this time around. But the state government too should make sure that they provide camps at this point in time for people because you cannot ask people to just say provide to relocate. You should make sure they give them conducive camps and make sure at this time around they should be well fed to know that the people will be there, you'll be playing a game with the others one. Then Midwest at 60. We plan for the development of the SASTAT. Yes, they should come together and revive the old glory of the old Bender state. Have a good day, man.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harry. And that was quite a sharp one there. But we're still taking more reactions before we move over to Comrade, to enlighten us on their rounds making the dailies. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome to the show. Your name and your location.
Yeah, this is Paul from Ughelli.
All right, Mr. Paul from Ughelli.
Tinubu inherited a bad economy. That is what most Nigerians did not know, because the president has not been saying this. The economy that Buhari left behind was a very bad economy. That is why the former Minister of Finance and the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs should be probed to tell us what they did with the billions that was given to them. And also, our foreign reserve that was looted from $33 billion to $3 billion. The finance minister and attorney general and the former president Buhari should come and tell us what happened to $30 billion in our foreign reserve. They should be probed so that we have money to run this economy. I also need pity for our president, Tinubu. He should probe these people. The finance minister, the humanitarian affairs minister, and the attorney general, and even the president, from President Buhari, he should come and tell us what happened to the billions of dollars that was looted during their time. Thank you.
All right. Well, Alex, maybe you should take the next phone call before we move over to Comrade.
Okay. Hello, good morning. Do we have a caller yet?
Good morning.
Okay, good morning to you. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Prince by name. I'm calling from...
Hello?
Hello, Prince. From where?
From Welly.
Oh, from Ughelli. Good. Go ahead then.
Precisely, I want to speak about the flood.
Okay.
Basically, I don't really know either Nigeria. Only emergency kits we attend to. This issue of flood has been for some years now. And we are told that there was a dam which they are building to prevent the flood. But today, nobody is talking about it. But immediately the flood comes, they will not make the provision, because for the provision, they make money. That is what they are doing. So I'm really, really confused about Nigeria. I don't know what to say. Nigeria claims to be the giant of Africa. There's nothing to show about it. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay, Henry, thank you.
Well, at this point, let's just put a hold on the calls for now and move over to Comrade to enlighten us. Well, Comrade, you have heard the reactions of the people. They have spoken their minds. But let's start with the one that seems to be making the rounds right now. It says Tinubu inherited bad economy. And also it says Tinubu targets economic revival and 50 million jobs in 3 years. Now we know that our president is a talk and do president per se. When he says he's going to do something, he actually goes and does it. So do you even see the possibility of 50 million jobs being actually created in the next 3 years, despite the fact that he inherited a bad economy?
Yes, let me start. Good morning first, our listeners and viewers. Let me start from the other angle of inherited a very bad economy. Tinubu never inherited any bad economy because he was an active part and parcel member of the past government. He was at the top of the government, despite the fact that he was not in office, but he was almost a de facto president when you talk of the APC hierarchy. So you couldn't have said he inherited a bad economy. He was part of that economy. Now coming down from there and talking about the creation of the 50 million jobs, you cannot create jobs when the economy is in comatose. Let the economy be opened. Let us have some basic amenities. That one alone is enough to create jobs by the youth for the youth and for the youth themselves. What if you now create 50 million jobs? In which ministry are you going to put them? Which industry or which company are they going to work?
You think they won't actually sort all of that out in trying to create these 50 million jobs?
Wait, sorting there, then there must be some indices on the table that we use to draw a yardstick. There is no indices on ground right now. And I don't think that one can be achieved in the next 3 years, unless, of course, some things in the economy are put in place. You don't have power. How do you now bring 50 million people? You don't have, the oil sector is not working. No sector that is working for now. So if actually they want to create jobs, like as I continue saying, the first thing is to make the economy to be open. If you have to give us power, even 18 hours a day, or even 5 days a week, all these jobs we are creating will be a thing of the past. The government should first of all focus on the foundation before we start talking of the roof. You can't build a house on the roof. There is no way the house can stand.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, I have this one that's bothering me. Federal government prunes list of delegation to UNGA. Of course, all of this is aimed at saving costs.
Exactly.
And this is one man who just recently appointed over 47 ministers
from 36 states.
In a country where you have 36 states. So what does this tell about this plan?
It's just like removing money from your left hand pocket and putting it on the right hand side. Because if you have 36 states and you're having 47 governors, which means some states are having more than 2 ministers, then you have also increased the number of ministries we are talking about. Do we need 47 ministries to run this country with this our epileptic government? The answer is no. If you want to prune down cost, look at it from every side. You do not prune down one side and increase the other side. If you cannot contribute to the profitability of an organization, do not contribute to the increase in the running cost. The answer becomes you are pulling down the power and the strength and the capital of that establishment. Now coming to the pruning of the members of delegates or delegation going to United Nations General Assembly, it's a welcome development. We have been having all this. There was a time we had a minister in this country. I don't even know whether the man is still alive now. Jim Mobodo. I think it's from your zone.
He's from I think Anambra State.
Yes. when he was traveling, then he was a minister of sports. When he was traveling for an assignment, he took the wife and the twins and the house helps to go and take care of the twin children over there. And they are all on government payroll. Are those things necessary? Why we have people who have not been paid, that the government cannot even pay? And you are having this type of frivolous expenses on the neck of the federal government. I think the president has done well. But one thing again, the president should go ahead to do, let him reduce the retinue of his entourage. Because at times you have more than 60, 70 cars following the president to the office. All those ones that save cost on the government. We should not look at it from only one side. A person with only one hand does not clap. Now you're having only one hand, that is the United Nations General Assembly. Let him also extend it to the other sides of the economy. Well,
comrade, you have spoken well as usual. But funny enough, did he use parables today?
You know, we are just looking.
No, he did. He said it's just like when you take money from your left hand and put it in the right hand.
Comrade, I nearly missed that. But comrade,
you got it now.
I got it. I did get it. But at this point, we have to log out the section to allow the next comment. But I dare not do that. So that, thank you for being on air with us today, and I do look forward to having you tomorrow as usual.
Yeah, thank you. You are back, and like as usual, this thing is not meant for only the newspaper review. There are still other programs, and 3 persons meant to go into Ikorodu, like 3 of us. Only me cannot speak up to Shagamu.
Okay, well, comrade, you have said it all. But at this point, I also want to use this opportunity to thank the Vanguard for sponsoring the paper review here on Quest. Have a lovely Tuesday, and bye for now.